All right, welcome back to the Team Prep Stars podcast. I'm Big Rob here with Ameen Alai and King Kamali. So, guys, let's talk about the Olympia, okay? I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, unfortunately, I was grounded here in Canada. I couldn't make it. Ameen, I know you were on the ground there at the Olympia. Kamali, did you make it to the Olympia?
No, but I watched the webcast, the whole thing.
You watched it?
Yeah,
okay.
Prejudging and the final, so I watched the whole thing.
So what did you think, Kamali? Did you like the outcomes? What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? Did anyone wow you on stage?
Let me stop you right there. So many people have done shows like this. Lots of podcasts. Let's talk about the Olympia. Let's do this. I think we should do something a little bit different here. Let's spice it up and do a little bit something different here. You guys agree with me or not?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you got?
All right, so Ameen, I got a question for you. Then Rob, I got a question for you. Would anybody in the top 5 would have placed in the top 10 in the 2001 Mr. Olympia? Think about it for a second. Ninth place at the 2001 Mr. Olympia was Nasser El-Somebody. 9th place. Could anybody in the top 5, maybe Ramy with his size and his freakiness, could they match the 2001 type of bodies and freaks conditioning?
The only 2 would be Brandon and Ramy. They're the only 2. The rest of them, it doesn't even matter.
Even with Brandon, standing like, let's say, 5th place. I think Orville Burke was 5th place. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? There's a whole
Orville Burke was crazy.
Well, I mean, it's a whole different world now. So a lot of people are sitting here saying, talking about Mr. Olympia and what they saw and what they didn't saw. My point is this. The sport has evolved into size.
Yeah,
it's a mass full game now.
Yeah,
Dexter said it best in one of the things that interviews that he did before he retired. He said they don't want the sucked in, chiseled look no more. They want the skin bursting fullness.
Yeah.
Okay, the skin bursting fullness. Now, what happened? I was waiting for someone to come along with 90s conditioning to stand next to these guys, and look what happened. All hell broke loose when Hadi stood next to them, because now everybody's like, oh my God, this and that. No, it's just one guy came in shape. That's one guy, and look, it threw a monkey wrench into the entire Mr. Olympia. That should be a wake-up call for a lot of guys next year. That's why I'm looking forward to a 225-pound Flex Lewis standing next to these people. That's what I'm looking for.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting because Flex is wider.
Because there's only one guy. There's only one guy on the Olympia stage right now that Hadi hasn't beaten yet. He's beaten Brandon. He's beaten Ramy. He's beaten all those guys. He still has not beaten Flex Lewis. That's the comparison that I want to see.
I don't think that anybody... If there is somebody that's even good enough, and that person is somewhere in the neighborhood of 5'10", competing against anybody that's below 5'8", I always think Mr. Olympia is going to go towards the taller person.
But don't you agree, both you guys, Rob, you two, that they threw a monkey wrench into this whole thing by Clarida beating Sergio and beating...
I was just about to say that.
I mean, that to me was like, okay, I understand.
Condition, yeah.
I understand that, but what happened to muscularity? And I kind of agree with, I wasn't there, so I'm not going to really say exactly 100% this should have been, that should have been. But Sergio was correct. He had 100 pounds on Sean. 100 pounds of muscle more than Sean, and he lost to Clarida. Why? I need that explanation. I need someone to sit there.
Well, I mean, Greg Kovacs had quite a bit of weight on a lot of other guys, but he didn't always win because his shape wasn't as good as some of the other people. I mean, when you look at Clarida next to the other guys, he looks like someone took like a Flex Wheeler and did put him in the shrinky dink, like it just shrunk. He's like he's got such good lines that even though he's little, but when you compare his overall physique next to the other people, he brings out their flaws.
It's not giving mixed messages to the guys, because what people are saying about Hadi is like, oh, he wasn't big enough. He wasn't as muscular enough as Brandon and Randy to win.
That's not what
happened. With Sean, now they're saying, well, Sean doesn't have to be muscular enough because his conditioning and shape pulled him through. It's kind of like a mixed message in my point of view.
So I talked to some of our Middle Eastern friends that were there. I don't want to mention who because that's kind of give it away. But they told me specifically that Hani was told by the judges, and that Hadi's shoulders were the reason that he got marked lower than he should have been. So they actually had him in higher. So I mean, this is directly from at the show, right before the night show. I'm being told that they may put Hunter in front of Hadi. That's what I was told. They said they're debating that right now, whether Hunter's going to be ahead, because they were that. Look, I was there in the 7th row, right, and you could see it. It looked funny.
You're talking about the pointy shoulders.
The pointy shoulders. It looked funny. It didn't look normal. And you know, it's one of those things where when you're in that condition, anything shows. A pimple that you pop is going to show water around it. You know what I mean? Like you got to think about that. I mean, it's even been talked about even if it's not something in the muscle, which there's definitely, you could see it protruded. So there's something that's under there, in there, scar, whatever you want to call it, scar tissue, site injection. There's something that should not be there, especially when the shoulder, when you flex it like that, you're supposed to see lines all the way across it. There isn't supposed to be little lines here, and then something smooth sticking over it. Okay, same thing with Ramy's quad, his outer sweep. I don't know what it's from.
You and I talked about this. You and I
talked about this.
We had a little conversation about this, and I told you when I went to Iran to do my appearances a few years back, all the athletes over there kept asking me about one certain drug. Now, I don't want to say exactly what it is because I'm not 100% sure what they were telling me. I got to do a little research on that again. I got to make a couple of phone calls. I know exactly who to call. But they kept saying to me that there's a drug that they put in their quads that just makes their quads get massive. I'm not quite sure what it was, but that might be what's going on right now with a lot of the guys in the Middle East. I got to find out what that was. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I'll find out.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see that. The other thing is that, you know, even up where the people where we're known to take a lot of injections in the glute, in the upper part of the glute, you know, when people wearing the posing trunks that are closer to thong style posing trunks, or T-back, whatever you want to call it, style posing trunks, you know, you're leaving that area exposed more. So I think the guys need to be more consciously aware that if they're not just seeing the shredded glutes, they're also seeing the part that is not shredded, which is the same thing that Hadi had. There's a part that like it's shredded and there's a part that's not, and it just doesn't fit the natural look of everything around it. You can tell there's something that's not right about it.
Now, can that be fixed?
Can that be fixed?
Because to me, it looks like it's solidified to me. It looks like it's solidified scar tissue.
It looks like that to me too. I'll be honest with you. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is not the first time I've seen it. It looked a little bit worse because his condition was a little bit better. That's all. Maybe I'm not really sure. But I've seen this in his shoulders for years. I've seen it in photo shots where it's like stuck out. Some side lateral shot where he was doing, or what was it? A cable crossover where it was sticking out. I mean, there's been a lot of pictures where even people didn't say anything about it where I saw it clearly, and I thought it looked pretty bad. Can it be fixed? If it's scarred, he's going to have to do a lot of deep tissue massaging.
That ain't going to be
You can't cut it out. You can't cut it out.
And the deep tissue massage and all that stuff, trust me, this is something that I learned from Nasser. Rest in peace. And Nasser taught me a big lesson about this. He showed me, made me feel it, and made me palpate his shoulders. There was nothing. And he did ultrasound and deep tissue, you name it. He did it. He did the scraping. I mean, everything from A to Z. Yep, nothing. Nothing worked.
Nothing.
Nope.
What is it? Is it end up just? It ends up being like fibrosis. It ends up being a hard part of the fiber.
100%.
That's just
100%. And let's teach these kids now. I mean, stop saying synthol. Can you please teach these kids to stop saying that? It's site injections. That's what it is. I wish these kids had what we had. Come on, Ameen. Stand up. Let me see the shirt.
That's the Clint. Oh, this?
Let me see. There it is. There it is, right there. I mean, and the sheen. What was the suspension that we had?
The stairs.
Oh
stairs
my
suspension.
God, man. Beautiful little brown bottles, and you put them in your refrigerator. You mix them with B12. They became a little pink cocktail.
That was, I showed you that.
And you would take it and it would disperse. You would have no fucking lumps, bumps, no type of disformities. Oh my God, did we have it good?
You know, it's funny you say that, because I think that other than the shoulders, okay, I actually think that's one of the reasons why Hadi looks better than everybody else, because I think he has real Iranian pharmaceuticals. And Iranian 100%. Pharmaceuticals are really among the best in the world, because you know this, King, what they did in Iran was they didn't just make like Anadrol, okay? They went to make the same Anadrol that was originally made in America. It's like getting the whole of the Colonel's secret chicken recipe. You know what I mean? Like they go after the original drug formulas. They go after the original Decadural, and they go after the original, and they make it just like it. And the Iranian pharmaceuticals are so good that, you know, I mean, King, tell about the Anavar in Iran. It's better than American. I'll tell you, it's that good.
Look, listen, hey man, I was there, and there was a pharmacy, 24-hour pharmacy in Tehran, and every night after we went and we partied and we ate food and we went to the bog and we had more food, every night around 3-4 o'clock in the morning, I would tell the guy, let's go by the pharmacy. I'd give him $10 American, $10. He would walk in there. 2 minutes later, he would walk out with a couple of bottles of Test, a couple of fucking bottles of growth, a couple of strips of whatever I wanted, and hand it to me for $10 fucking, man. That's it.
Wow.
And these kids have access to that anytime they want. And you wonder why. And when I came back, the first thing I said to the people here, wait till you see the freaks that are going to come out of the fucking Middle East, especially Iran. And I said this on Palumbo's show before. There is a bunch of Hadi Choupans in Iran.
Oh, yeah.
There are guys that are better than Hadi Choopan in Iran that you haven't heard of yet. And I've seen it with my own eyes, man. Just freaks walking around. They'll come out as soon
once they nail it. Once they learn how to nail it for the show, it's a wrap. And we'll be helping them. I'm sure you'll be helping them. I get contacted by people all over the world to help people nail it in for shows, and
they can't leave the fucking country. That's the problem.
Really booming in Iran, right? You know, it's getting really
bodybuilding. Yeah, it's huge.
Ask me why, Rob. Ask me why.
Why?
Okay, because they don't have anything else to do. There are no nightclubs. There are no hangouts. There are no movies. There's nothing. The only thing that these kids have is the gym. They go to the gym. It's the only place they can take all their clothes off, including the girls. They can put on their exercise clothes, show off their bodies, crank the house music or the hip hop, and it becomes a whole scene for them. Imagine if you didn't have anything but that. That's why their whole life is that. Their whole being is that. Everyone, the number one occupation in Iran for people, for kids under 30 is a personal trainer. They're all personal trainers.
Wow.
They're all personal trainers. Mm-hmm. That's why it's coming out. You know, imagine if everybody here did that.
With real pharmaceuticals and real good food. Look, none of the food's genetically modified. All the beef is eating actually, the cows are actually eating grass, not corn. So you have real good quality food out there. Probably some of the best food in the world. Yeah, and all the gyms there, they serve you food. Here there's juice bars, and here they give you shakes because everybody wants it. You know, everybody here knows one little a cup of shake, which you pay $8.50 for, costs about 50 cents to make.
Yeah.
So they're making a tremendous amount of profit. In Iran, you're not sure if the products are real or fake. 99% of it is fake over there, you know. So what they do is they eat. So they don't even know it, but they're doing so much more for their bodies than drinking the garbage that we drink over here. So exactly. after you finish working out, I would finish working out. Let's say the gym, SCUT was the name of the gym in Iran that I was training at. Every time I would finish, I would go to the locker room, change, come back, sit down at the table. There would be about a dozen egg whites waiting for me, 2 strips of steak, white rice, everything ready, and I'd be like,
dream.
Here we go.
It's a dream.
And exactly. And in about an hour later, you're starving because you don't have all those chemicals up to here in your throat.
Right? Oh, I hate that shit.
Well, so it's like here in Canada, Montreal, I know there's at least 1 or 2 gyms that they've been doing that, and they did that in the past. I'm wondering if they got that idea from Iran, who started this? Because it's a really good business model. There's nothing like that where I live in Canada.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and that's why they're progressing the way they are. You know, and it's just like even when you go to Dubai, you know, I haven't been to Kuwait yet, but when I went to Dubai, just the atmosphere and how much respect you get when you walk in there, and they allow freelance trainers to come in. I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, when you walk into a gym in Dubai, there's about 300 trainers walking around. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody's making money. The gym owner's making money. Everybody's happy. Here, what happens? You got a fat 18-year-old kid walking around with a clipboard saying, I'm a with the word trainer written on his back.
Yeah.
Seriously?
They took the weekend course and now they're a trainer all of a sudden. But going back there, Kamali, to your question, you know, pretty much what you're doing, and I hear what you're saying, you're comparing, you know, 2001 to now. You know, what do I have to say about this? You know what? I agree with you. I hear what you're saying. The image, the look that the judges are going for, these organizations are going for, it's changed. And I mean, we've talked about this in the past already. It's evolved and it's changed, and I wouldn't say it's changed for the better. Now, having said that, with classic physique, one, you know, I'm absolutely amazed by Chris Bumstead. He's looked unbelievable. I don't see anyone even coming close to him, and I'm curious to see how long he's gonna win. But, you know, when it comes to the men's bodybuilding, you know, I can't say I'm seeing anyone and I'm going like, oh my God, this guy's the next best thing. You know, Ramy, yes, he's massive. But, you know, was I absolutely amazed? Not overly, right? So...
Okay, so
we also have been desensitized because of the internet too. Okay, let's put that into the equation.
Sure.
You know, back then you didn't have that. When Kevin Levrone came into town, he was a rock star. When King Kamali came into town, I was a rock star. When Ronnie Coleman came into town, everything would shut down. Every gym owner, everybody would run to the gym just to get his autograph. I mean, that was the way that they used to treat us. Now, you know, you have Ramy walking around on stage guest posing, and you hear crickets. It's just a different world we live in, man.
Yeah, it is.
So I was with Ramy after the show at the photo shoot with Enhanced Athlete, and I was at the gym with him at the photo shoot there also. So we stayed till like Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe even. And standing right next to Ramy, I mean, you know, putting my arm on his shoulder and everything like that, compared to seeing Kevin Levrone in the 92 Grand Prix that I won, the lightweight class, open class, and Levrone was a week after winning the Night of Champions. He just won the Night of Champions, and he was on his way to do the Olympia for the first time in 92. And Kevin was a week after the Night of Champions, compared to just a day after the Mr. Olympia. Kevin was more impressive. Kevin's skin was thin, and when he flexed his muscle, it looked like cement. I mean, I can't even tell you. I've never seen muscle look like that. It looked like cement. Ramy's muscle was big. It was huge. It was impressive and all that other stuff, but it didn't have that like shrink wrap look to it. And this is a week after. I know he was blown. He was on his rebound. I know at the Night of Champions he was really drawn in. He was really shredded. Probably the best condition Kevin had ever been in his life was at the Night of Champions. So, but you know, it's just a different look. And honestly, I think it's because of excessive growth hormone. I think it's at the point right now where the skin is getting thick and you're not seeing tissue thin skin like you used to see back in the day before people were taking. How much growth do you think guys are taking now, King?
Glad you just asked me that. I have seen the actual protocol for a top. I'm gonna change this around so people don't say they know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's say one of the top 5 guys in the Olympia this year.
Sure.
Okay. One of the top 5. I've seen the protocol. Would you be surprised if I said to you 30 IUs a day?
That's insane. That's insane.
And it was verified by his ex, not his current coach, but his ex-coach verified it. 30 IUs. Now,
so how much insulin has to be taken with 30 IUs?
That's the point. See, this is where the science comes in, and you and I, we understand the science, but these kids, they don't. What happens is they don't understand that is, I mean, listen, when we used to take Humatrope, okay, or what was the stuff that Nootropen or Humatrope?
Yeah.
I mean, please explain how you couldn't, you just couldn't, your hands and your feet. I mean, I couldn't do cardio. Like, it was constantly doing, and I would call you up and say, I mean, stop taking it for a few days. You know, you couldn't even function. Nowadays,
stop taking it for a few days.
An entire fucking bottle of fucking Chinese or whatever, you don't even fucking feel it.
No, it's not the same.
Not the
Those
same.
Chinese generics are dark.
No. King, you remember the smell? The smell that it had,
Of
the real
course
growth.
I remember. Of course, I remember.
This stuff that they take now, it doesn't have that smell. That smell that when you mix the growth, or even if you have a real genotropin pen, it still smells like that. That smell, you wouldn't just smell it, you would taste it. Like, you would take the shot and you take the shot wherever, and then you would literally taste it in your tongue. Like, about a few minutes later, you'd smell it in your nose without smelling it. It was something else, man.
Yeah,
and there's no way that you'd be able to take 30 IUs. There's no way.
That's what they're doing right now. That is the protocol that I saw, and that's why the fullness that you're looking at right now is off the charts. Now, I've had that. The biggest I've ever got in the off season was 308. 308 was the biggest I ever got, and that was it 2009? No, it was the year 2000. It was the year 2000.
But you were always
that was
290. You were always 290
but
pounds.
280 was a good point for me. To get to 308, I was just trying to prove a point to Chad because he didn't think I could do it. And it was a bet between me and Chad. He goes, I said, if I show up at the Arnold Classic at 308, then what? He goes, I'll fucking train you for free. Then he goes, I know you're crazy then. And I showed up. Remember Ameen when I showed up with the white spandex? And the white,
Yeah, I do.
I looked like the fucking, like a Persian fake-puffed marshmallow, man. And I'm huffing and puffing. And then I remember Kim saw me and she went like this. She went like this. And she goes, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I did it 308." And Chad's like, "Oh, okay, go immediately. I want you to start doing cardio. You got 6 months. You got to fucking come down." But that is what and we didn't do it. I didn't do it with insulin. I did it with food. I did it with food. I did not use insulin. When they don't seem to believe us when we say back then, this is the protocol that I was taught. Chad never made us do insulin in the off season. We only did insulin Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the day before the show. That's it. We loaded up on the insulin because he wanted our waist to stay small. Now, people, I know what the douchebag haters and the trolls are going to say now. You guys had bubble guts. You have whoa, fucking dickhead. We were eating 2 cans of pie filling, 3 bananas, 2 bowls of oatmeal, a 10-ounce steak plus a potato every 2 hours carving up for the show because we didn't have Carbolin. We didn't have all those fucking beautiful things that they have now to carb up on. We had food. That's why our stomachs were out like this, because we were eating all that food. But nowadays, I've seen, God, listen, do you know Milos? Are you friends with Milos?